YouTube Live, which it should give you a notification for that. You can click that and make it go away, and then I will mute.
I just did that. I just did that.
Awesome. And I got 2 more buttons to click. This one is muted, so we're good. We'll get rid of that. And we will move over for Facebook Live, which gives us 3 faces. So everybody on Facebook will see me and Bobby and you. So
all right.
Try not to pick your nose if you can look as good as you can. But I like that background. I like the bookshelf you got behind you. That's good looking.
Yeah, I got tons of awards back here.
That's
tons
great.
Right.
I like that a lot. All right, so we will transition over. Now they can see us, and I will unmute us. So we are now live everywhere on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And I am Sean, as everybody should know. Most of you who have followed us live know Bobby Schindler, of course. Actually, I'm pointing that way. I don't know if he's that way on your screen. Actually, he's probably right there. That's him. And down on the screen we are talking today with Jonathan Hart. And we have just heard a little bit about his story. I don't have my head fully wrapped around it yet, Jonathan. You've got Coach Wink, who maybe started it, and he was doing a lot of the handling of this kind of thing, taking kids to the U.S. Open. I think Eric Jackson has himself involved a little bit. So yes. What I want to do is say, Jonathan, please tell us about who you are and what is going on with getting these kids to the U.S. Open.
Okay, well, my name is Jonathan Hart, but as of late, it's been changed to Coach Hart. But we've been taking kids to the U.S. Open. I think the first year was 2013. This will be our 8th year taking them. Of course, we had a couple years we couldn't go because they had no attendance at the U.S. Open during the pandemic. What happened was Coach Wink had taken the kids the first year. Then the second year he went to take them. At the last minute, they got canceled. I said, why? He says, well, we just didn't get enough money to go. I said, okay, that's not going to happen again. So from that point, I came on in 2014. So we did from that point on, from 15 all the way up until now, every year, we have made it happen. Again, the only thing that stopped us was the pandemic. Well, Coach Wink teach a lot of kids. I mean, he sent a lot of kids to college, but his forte was really smaller kids, which I kind of take care of now, okay? But this guy was a gem. I mean, he just affects so many lives. And you know, when you're dealing with the smaller kid, you know, you're doing some mentoring, big time, you know? So, and I mean, just to keep them focused is a job. But yeah, so that's how it got started. And it just got bigger and bigger and better and better. And this year we're trying to make it bigger and better than ever, you know, in his memory. So yeah, that's how it got started, and that's how I got involved.
Okay, so you were helping raise funds. That was kind of your role.
At first, all I did was sponsor and raise funds. Okay, and then I would go on the trip and manage during the trip. Okay, so I'm kind of good with kids and getting them all together. And when you look at the video, that's me on there getting everybody all hyped up and what have you. So that's what I would do. Because me, I'm a player. You see all these awards, I'm a national player. I travel all over the country playing tennis. That's what I like to do. But like I said, here in this last year or so, I'm doing a lot of coaching.
Okay, and so how many kids you got this year? What's the target? We got to get a number of kids. How much money do we need? Where are we? Because you're leaving soon, right?
Yes, we're leaving real soon. The number of kids is going to be somewhere right about between 30 and 40, maybe 36. It's going to be somewhere in that number, okay? Because we always get some last people fall out and then some more people jump on. I just had a lady today. Oh my God, I've been trying to get a hold of you. I can't, you know, I got to get my kid there. Okay, we got you. All right. But so yeah, that's the number. And what we're trying to raise is about 17,000. That will get us over the hump. Okay. And every day it's getting lower and lower. So yeah, that's about what's going on.
Okay, and what is that and I don't want to dive too much, so we're giving any what number per kid, that kind of thing. But what does that look like from a cost point of view? It's not just, you're not putting all these kids, are you putting them on a bus? Are you putting them on a flight? Do you have to have hotels? Like what does that look like?
We go on a bus, and boy, do we have fun on that bus. We have a ball. We got some great movies. We got some great games, some great trivia, and and then of course we have some sleep time too. After we eat, everybody falls asleep overnight.
Sure.
But the bus takes us up there and back. But we need the bus because when we get there, while we're there, like all during the day, we're at the Billie Jean Tennis Center, okay? And then we go tour New York. Like we already have our itinerary. Our first day there will be Arthur Ashe Kids Day. Then we'll go to the concert. After the concert, we'll go to Ground Zero and Freedom Tower.
Nice.
And, it's a lot of history there. And a lot of kids don't really understand that till they actually see it. Okay. So, and then the next day, we come to pro day. To me, was like the best day because you can get right next to the pros, talk to them, unless they're, Serena or Djokovic. They got too much security. Otherwise, you can, they'll talk. So we have made an appointment, and it has been offered to us. We're going to watch Coco practice, and she's going to do a meet and greet for us. Chris Eubanks, who also came through our program, he's going to meet and greet. And he did that last year. He hit with our kids last year, okay? And we also have Jermaine Jenkins has invited us out to a practice and meet and greet with Clairvic. I can't say her last name. She won the Wimbledon Junior Grand Slam.
Right.
And I didn't mention, but Jameer Jenkins is now with Coco. So that's how we got that. He told us, hey, I can hook you up. And he came through our program too when they were little guys.
Nice. Right. I've always found it's not who I know, but it's who knows me. Like
so
I didn't say I know them.
I didn't answer part of that, and the part I missed was this: when it's $500 a kid, okay.
Okay.
Usually the parent pays that for the kid, okay. The ones that can afford it, some we have to make a way, all right. But that takes care of all your transportation, takes care of your hotel. We're staying at the beautiful Graduate on Roosevelt Island, okay? And it takes care of your first round tickets and all the events we go to when we go to Freedom Tower and, and then we tour Harlem and our dinner is already paid for at Melba's restaurant. So for 54 people. So that's super great.
Sure. Very nice.
And we ate there last year too, so.
Okay.
So, they're expecting us.
I love it. And I don't have much experience with this type of event. Bobby, is this something you've done before? Have you done the get on a bus and take kids somewhere? This is outside of my experience.
I've done it. And since I'm from there, I know where he's going too.
That's true. You know the area. I don't know much about it at all.
Yeah, that's great. And then the middle day, which is pro practice day, at the end of that day, we take them and we try to stay late so it gets dark and we take them to Times Square so they can experience Times Square at night, get to shop, and frolic a little bit. Then we go hit the hotel because the next day is opening day for the US Open.
And the first week, I heard this rumor, so you're buying tickets for the first round, but the first week in qualifying, those are free at the US Open. Don't they do a pretty good job of free events that first qualifying week?
Yes, but our kids are starting school, so we can't take them up and keep them that long. Okay, so
tennis is way more important than school. Come on.
they miss a day as it stands. Okay. So you're right. The qualifiers are free. But the day we arrived there, which is Arthur Ashe Kids Day, is probably the second biggest day of the event. It is crazy. It's a madhouse. And it was great for us last year because, like I say, Chris Eubanks hit with some of our kids. I think I sent you the video. If not, I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of experience you can have if you get on the bus with us and go up there. That's the kind of thing that can happen for you.
I like it. And this is, so you have some families that pay for it, meaning if I have $500, I can send my kid. But if I don't have, let's say I don't have my own kid, or if I'm looking at donating, I'm trying to figure out how to help you raise the funds and say, okay, I want to sponsor a kid. It's $500, but you know what? Everybody's got $10, which is really how you make something like this happen, is getting more people giving what's in their pocket right now that they can really, not everybody has a $500 to give.
Right, and that's what you see on our GoFundMe. You see some people donate $500, $200, $10, $25. The average is about 40 or 50. Okay, but after we collect all the fees from the parents and chaperones who want to pay to go too, also, because that's a really cheap price to go to New York and stay there and get all that for $500.
Really
and the guy from New York definitely knows that. Yeah, so after we collect all the fees, that's about 2/3 of what it costs. So then we need to have sponsorship and other money to make everything else happen.
Gotcha. And you get to talk to, as we spoke earlier, you've got some businesses involved, some local businesses that help out, and other funding.
Yes, we have one couple sponsors already. Our sponsorships, the platinum is $5,000, our gold is $3,000, and the silver is $1,000. We had one business come in at $3,000. The city of Atlanta is also sponsors. We're waiting to hear from the mayor's office, but we got a city councilman. I got to shoot him out his props. Byron Amos, Councilman Amos.
We like
He's
that guy.
sponsoring $4,000. Constituent Services, I met with them yesterday. They asked me to send them a overnight letter. I did that, so maybe they will give us some more. And but we met with several businesses yesterday, and the next few days, I'm expecting some of them to come in.
Nice. So what's the offer there? And Bobby's got a little more experience with the sponsorship side of things than I do, but looking at numbers and looking at a business as an example, if we were to come in and say, hey, we'd like to help you with this event, a business is going to sometimes just say, here's some money, we love to help kids. But also there's an exposure that those businesses are, where's my logo go? And when do I get my backlink to my website for my SEO? Do you have answers to some of those questions in a package that you hand out, or how does that work?
Yeah, I have all those answers. They're in the package, but since we're talking on the podcast now, we're a 501c3. Okay, so it's a tax write-off available for you. Okay, we will put you on all our social media. We will also thank you. The kids will thank you on video. And so your t-shirt will be there because we're going to get a lot of video coverage when we're with Coco and Chris, especially, probably Clairvik too. Actually, one of our kids, she's about 17, I think. One of our kids is supposed to actually hit with Clairvik. So that would be fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
She's very good. Her name is Cherish. I can't remember Cherish's last name, but she's a baller. So,
Okay.
yeah, but the businesses, they get all the bells and whistles that we can provide.
Gotcha. Yeah, because sometimes the numbers, they say, okay, well, my logo's on the back of the shirt. You get all those questions, but say, hey, look, we're going to do videos. We're putting it out on social media, which seems to be a thing that everybody likes, because we like to connect. We like that engagement, and everybody likes to see kids happy and watching tennis.
Yes. Like we just can't wait to thank GoTennis when we get this done. We can't wait.
Well, we're looking at trying to figure out how to get involved as well. Right now, I'm in the back counting how many hats I have. I'm like, okay, can we get all the kids in hats? What does that look like?
Okay. But well, Capelli, who did the t-shirts for Atlanta Open, we're in talks with them. It seems like they want to sponsor our t-shirts.
Nice.
I hope to confirm that today. But they have reached out to us and we have been talking.
Nice.
Because we're a really big presence. They expect us every year. When you got 40 to 60 people and we're chanting, the whole stadium stops and look right at us. They always put us on the Trinitron, okay? And when they're practicing, people like Coco, she stops and waves. And Jermaine, we went about 4 years ago. He was the head coach for Naomi Osaka. So we got to go to her practice, and she was very nice to us. We have some really strong connections and some really good guys that came through our program.
Yeah, and you can't get away with it. You can't do this without those kinds of people and without the people helping. It's just it's nice. And you said Eubanks came through your program. That's kind of the last thing I want to touch on. What does that mean?
put it like this. When all the little African-American kids were coming up, and when they were kids, like I say, Coach Wink specialized in kids, we're talking 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, okay? They all came through Washington Park and McGee Tennis Center. That was the only place they had, okay? Then as they got better, they would move out to Mr. Peterson or Jewel Peterson out there in Burdette Park in South Fulton, and so on and so forth. You just step up the ladder, but you started through there. So they all came through that program. So that's what we mean.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I think
Coach Wink has put his hands on all of them.
Yeah, that's good, because he had I was looking into him recently. He had a profound impact on kids tennis in Atlanta.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When I used to sponsor him and give him money, I could go to sleep at night because I knew it was going to be handled right for the right thing. He'd be trying to show me receipts, say, leave me alone. Okay, let's get these kids there. We got a lot more to do to deal with that. It was great working with him. And it was just a shock when he passed at that early age.
Yeah, and that's a good thing to have that trust. And we don't have that a lot in the Atlanta area, especially between coaches. We're a hyper competitive type of person. And so to see everybody working together, it's one of the things GoTennis and the podcast that we're doing, Bobby and I have that vision of everybody being on the same team, everybody working together.
Yeah, and that's where Eric Jackson comes in too now. Okay, Eric came through our program as a junior. Of course, he was, boy, really, really great. He played for the Junior Davis Cup team when he played in Japan, representing America. That's the kind of skills he had. But he's been in Dallas for many, many years. But he's back now, and he says, hey, I'm willing to give back. And hopefully I can do this maybe another year or two and pass it on to a younger guy like that, to take over. That would be great.
It's got to take a lot of energy, I'm sure.
Yes.
Bobby, you got anything? I know we kind of threw you in here late, and I haven't really even had a chance, Jonathan, if you wouldn't have known, but normally Bobby and I talk about these things ahead of time. And since you and I only connected yesterday, I haven't had a chance to catch up Bobby. So in the last 20 minutes, I figured Bobby's brain's running a little bit. See what
I'm trying to get people up here. I'm thinking, first of all, Jonathan, I would love a deck if you could send it to me. That I have a couple people I could ship it out to right away and try to help out on the fundraising side of it.
Okay, great.
And then were you involved a couple of years ago at Forest Hills with the kids? With Luke and running all over Forest Hills. I heard a funny story from, I think, somebody we both know about the kids didn't have the right shoes, and you guys had to go out and get shoes for the kids to be.
Actually, that didn't too much happen either. What they kind of had to give us a break because we had no idea about the shoes. Because how many of them ever played on grass? Me as a senior, I hated grass because I'm always falling on the court, but we go up to Philadelphia and play up on the grass court. Up there is where we have our nationals, okay? And they don't let us wear grass court shoes up there because they don't want their courts ate up, okay? But yes, of course, I was right there. We went that was a spectacular trip.
Yeah.
And for me, especially because that's where Ash beat Connors, okay, right there in that stadium. And I didn't know that clubhouse was that small. It looked so huge on TV. That was a small place. I was like, wow. But it had a lot of history, and all our kids got to play on grass, and they'll never forget that. Never forget that. So yes, I do know a lot about that.
I heard all about it as it was happening, and I was like, well, that must be.
Yeah, we had no shoes for grass.
Yeah.
But we had white. We knew we had to have white because each day we wear a different color t-shirt. So we had our white t-shirts on, and we wore all white for that particular day. So we were at least on point with the colors, and the videos came out great. The pictures of that event are great. Yeah.
Now, you guys spoken with Ray Benton up in DC with his program, Jesse Cooper in Houston, because Jesse's got ties to Michael Young as well.
Right. No, we see them when we go up there. Sometimes when I go up there to Tacoma Park, which is not the park where they work at, but that's where all the old guys play. I'll go up there and hit with them sometimes. and I'll run into those people. Okay, but no, our world has been right here in Atlanta. Of course,
Okay.
you know, we're the #1 city in the nation. Okay, and that's been more of our focus. So we have not been reaching out to Houston and to DC. Right.
Where are you coaching out of now?
Excuse me?
What area do you coach out of now?
I coach out of McGee Tennis Center and Sugar Creek. And Sugar Creek just happened this summer because I don't know if you know, Atlanta is going through a contractual thing right now. And so,
We've
right,
heard some
so,
rumors.
right. So we're kind of up in the air with McGee right now. So I went on out to Sugar Creek where we got a good base. And in fact, the guy who runs it went to college with me. So that was easy to work with.
Bobby, it sounds like there's an opportunity at McGee. I don't know. I mean, you and I are kind of free for some facility management here now.
Yeah.
That leasing in the city of Atlanta is a tough thing.
That's a hard business. I don't envy that. I'm totally kidding about getting into that business. That is not.
I mean, UTA had called me and they were saying, okay, we're thinking about making a bid. If we do, you're our guy. Because I already had a program there. We know you. We know you know what to do for the area. And then they called me back and said, hey, what the city of Atlanta is offering, it's just not going to fit. We're not going to even bid. And so they fell out, you know. And
Have you spoken about this? Have you spoken about this? I'm just trying to think. Yeah, I don't want to recreate what you've already done, but have you spoken to UTA? Have you spoken to Trevor Shore about as well?
Well, I talked to UTA, okay, but UTA was planning on bidding for McGee, and they decided to back out and not bid.
Yeah.
So after, and then I ran into them at the Atlanta Open. We talked a little bit more. You know, we had hit a couple times, and yeah, so I think he's got his knee replacement, half replaced. So he was telling me about that because I might need to get mine done.
We're all thinking about stuff like that. Bobby, do me a favor. Will you lean forward, like sit up straight, so you're just far enough away that your mic's kicking out as you go?
Probably because I have it in a stand that the mic is a little blocked, but
That's okay. Yeah, just your first word cuts out, and then we get the rest of it. So if you're a little closer, it'll help.
I can do it.
There we go. Yeah, now you sound good. But yeah, Bobby, anything else? I love Bobby's always great, Jonathan, because he's going to look up and he's going to know about the fun stories and the events that have happened, and he definitely knows New York. I'm sure he's probably not the type you want on the bus with you managing the kids. There's a firmer hand there that might not be necessary, but
I can put through anything too. So
but he would know the area.
Well, don't get me wrong. Sometimes we have to be firm. I don't take any kids, you know, that can't be disciplined. That could be a problem. So we kind of select our kids.
Got to be about 16, 17, maybe 18 hours. So it's not a short trip. So
it's 15, 16.
Yeah. And they're excited to get there. So, but they're going to be. It's tough because you're just the sheer adrenaline of what you're getting into. But the good news is the beginning of the trip is easy, and it's the shortest distance is the worst. Once you get on the Jersey Turnpike, it's brutal. Delaware.
It is brutal. When we stop in the morning and in New Jersey, right? Not far from the Meadowlands, we stop, okay? And we have breakfast and freshen up and put on our t-shirts because we're headed to Arthur Ashe Kids Day, okay? Yeah, but we're super excited right there because then I'm on the microphone, they see the Meadowlands, and then shortly after we'll go over to Washington Bridge. And I try to keep them entertained because we're only going 10 feet stop, 10 feet stop. It's just, traffic is crazy. It is crazy. And then you have to be careful. The bus driver has to know where to go because you can't go under some of those little tunnels.
Not enough spread, yeah.
Yeah, so.
The George Washington Bridge has been under construction my entire life. So it's, you can't go in through, I'm trying to think, they bring you in through, you could actually go through Staten Island, which might be a little easier, and go to Verrazano, but nonetheless, it's not easy.
Right.
I was born and I grew up first few years in the Bronx. So I can tell good Bronx stories. Back in the day when Mayor Koch used to put posters in the windows to make the buildings look better. So it was.
Well, you know, so far out of the 7 years we've been, every time we go, it's good weather when we go across that bridge. So we have all these views, you know, and it's just a really nice thing. And I can start narrating, looking at, you know, Manhattan and this Chrysler building, that building. And I just try to, you know, keep the thing exciting and keep them motivated. And they're super excited. And when we get off that bus, it's on and pop.
Yeah, well, it's like I said, it's an amazing view when you get close. It's really it's even going back in my age, having grown up in it. There's nothing like it in the world. I spent a little time in D.C. and went back to New York. I'll never forget. On a Friday afternoon, got off the train during rush hour, and I was like, I just spent a month in D.C. and DC looked like a small town compared to getting off the station. So yeah,
let me tell you, one of the most exciting things for me was just exciting me is when I woke up the first morning, that Sunday morning, and I opened my blinds and I was on Roosevelt Island and at the Graduate Hotel, and I said, oh my God, you could reach out and touch, you know, I mean, you were right there. Where the Ground Zero was and the World Trade Center. I mean, Manhattan, it was just like unbelievable, unfreaking believable.
And it's so crazy. I took my daughter up a few years ago, and just the growth of Jersey City is unbelievable because, you know, everything in New York is so expensive. Obviously, Brooklyn off 10, 15 years ago, but I couldn't believe Jersey City. I was like, my God, you know, that was the place you could get some, you know, for Sinatra in Hackensack, it was cheaper. And now that whole it's grown even more. It's intimidating and amazing all at the same time.
Yeah, again, since you mentioned that, we need as many people to come on board this last week because you better believe those prices are crazy high and they got higher since inflation stepped up. So yeah, you're right about that. We're in New York. We're right there on the river at Roosevelt Island.
Yeah, and so we're trying to figure out how to help you raise money for this. That's our goal right now. We've got about a week. I think you said you leave 25th-ish, somewhere around there.
We leave the 25th.
I will put all the links, GoFundMe, excuse me. We will put that all out there. You've sent me a bunch of information. We'll try to share that as well. So we'll tag each other and get everything out on social media. And anybody who's got $10, if you want to sponsor a kid, $500 is the magic number. And if you want to sponsor all of them, give Bobby a call because he's going to be the one. Wait, Bobby's over here. Give Bobby a call because he's handling the bigger numbers. But yeah,
please give Bobby a call.
Exactly. And we will follow up over the next few days. Exactly. Well, I appreciate it, Jonathan. Thank you so much for your time. And Bobby, as always, guys. We got
to ask him. He's the king of tennis. We got to ask him.
That's where I'm headed. So
okay. Make sure we didn't let him get away with not being the king of tennis.
No. Since we're past, we're going to put the GoFundMe out there. Now I'm going to step back into our typical Atlanta Tennis podcast and say, I do want to ask my favorite question to Jonathan Hart and ask if you were king of tennis. We've heard a little bit about who you are and what you do, and you like to play and you like to help the kids of Atlanta. But is there something close to your heart or something that you've seen in general, whether it's the whole world of tennis or just Atlanta or just Sugar Creek or McGee? Is there anything in the world of tennis you would change if you were king of tennis?
Is there anything I would change? Okay, because tennis is a pretty good, complete game. I mean, I just like the way it is, okay? And I would have said, let's get a tiebreaker at the end of the Grand Slams, but they finally did that because that was ridiculous, okay? But if it was something I was gonna change, I would change the way the college did. When the ball hits the net, still play the point. I would do that on the pro level. I kind of like that, yes.
Okay, well so if I'm gonna go with that.
Play less on the serve.
What's that, Bobby?
In D1 college, you played let. If it hits the net, it's live.
Well, I get that, but and my understanding of why they changed that rule is because college kids are a bunch of cheaters, because we've all played college tennis and we all know we're a bunch of cheaters. And anytime he aced me, I just called a let. So I don't see the reason to do it in professional for the same reason. So I'm curious if I can push back a little, Jonathan, and say it's obviously because not Djokovic isn't cheating. What's the purpose of that rule change?
I like the way it keeps things flowing. Okay. And it's the when it happens, like, oh, all of a sudden you got to react to it, and then you got to play your point differently. Okay, so I just like the way that happens, and I played it a couple of times, and I says, okay, all right, it's in the equation. It's another thing added to the equation, so that's why I like it. Yeah,
I like it. That's good.
Not for the cheating.
Different from the college players being a bunch of cheaters.
I mean, you're saying cheating, but even the pros get the calls wrong sometimes. So
this is true.
It is what it is. It's part of the game.
But I really want it to be out. Isn't that enough if I just want the ball to be out?
It's a Thursday morning Alpha. Wait a minute. That sounds like Alpha. I swore it was Alpha.
No, we don't admit that.
So let me ask you something. Are you guys still playing? Are you guys still playing?
Bobby, you haven't played a match in a decade?
A decade or more. I'd love to hit the ball. Don't get me wrong. But tennis wasn't my only game, and I probably threw a few too many pitches in my day. So I reserved my shoulder for teaching only.
Okay. All right. Okay.
But I would love to hit the ball all day long. I mean, my coach was just a pretty player. He floated, and that was always, he always said, look cool. And that was my goal. His day, okay. Hey, gosh, you look good out there. I said, I wish my coach I said, I was a good listener. I just wish he would have told me to win. Because there was many matches, but I look cool too. And I came up there like, damn, you look good out there. I said, thank you. But I lost.
I'm a little different in that regard. I'm my homeboy, when he was coming up, he was a little guy. He used to be playing on the court next to me in Berkeley, California. That's Brad Gilbert. So
ugly.
Yeah, so I can win ugly. Just as long as I win. The main thing, when I shake your hand and I won the last point, that's what's the biggest joy of all. I mean, I've got a few things that I do very neat and pretty, but I can definitely play ugly.
My coach, he was ambidextrous. He was, like I said, in a different. How old are you?
I'm 67.
Okay, so I'm 58. So I grew up in the 70s and in New York, and my dad was a longshoreman, and my coach was African American, and we didn't look the part when we walked into a place. But Bill was just, and I tried to reach out to him a couple of years ago. I'm curious to get whether he's still with us, but he just was an amazing player. He floated, and I grew up in an indoor facility on clay, so it was watching a man dance.
There's an indoor facility right next to the Graduate.
I'm further out. By the time I was playing tennis, I was on the island. So I know what you're talking about. I know exactly, because the bubble, there's a bubble right when you go in. I think it's the Queen side, and I was there forever, and I haven't been out there in a long time.
All right. Yeah, they got right. I mean, not even one block from the hotel, the Graduate, there's an indoor facility.
And there's a great facility in the Bronx too. River Club, I think, is in the Bronx. A big facility that does some good stuff too. But yeah, just it was fun. But that was always his mantra: look cool out there. And I was like, I did, but I lost.
Okay, all right, Jimmy.
And where is Eric now?
Who?
You brought up Eric Jackson. I knew Eric. He was out here with me in Cumming, 10 years ago, and then I heard he went to Dallas, and I just recently heard he came back.
Yes, he just called me just a minute ago. I had to just click it because I'm on this podcast, but he just called me. He's here now. He's in Stone Mountain area up there, and and he's about to start up some more programs with DeKalb County. Yeah, and I'm trying to get him to take this by the reins and take over this too, because he can definitely handle this type of thing. Yeah.
Well,
he's a great ball striker, man. He's great ball striker.
Yeah, but if you're 67, you look great. So tell me what you're drinking.
Gonna say, what's your regimen? 67 years old. You look phenomenal.
You get a lot closer to the camera. I'm a lot further away.
Bobby's backing up.
Yep, we don't want you to see those eyes.
You guys just have fun doing this podcast, huh? Okay.
Why else do it, Jonathan? Why else do it? And
That's right.
we don't take ourselves too seriously. We just try to help Atlanta tennis and trying to do for you as much as we can for the kids. And
All right.
We'll get everything out there that we can. I'll follow up with you after this. We'll put this out audio only on all the podcast apps that goes out. I'll get that out in the next couple of days to make sure everybody that follows us there will see it. I'll clean it up a little bit, see if I can make Bobby sound good. We'll figure something out.
I'll introduce.
You have Jonathan's contact information, because this is something,
Yeah.
I know you're alluding to something I did a long time ago. And this is something that I have a great interest in. And so I'd like to be able to help out. I know we're under the gun this year, but get us running for next year as well.
Sounds good.
We'll make it
Sounds
work.
very good.
I'll call everybody after this and we'll make it all happen. Jonathan,
All right.
thank you so much. We'll talk soon.
Thank you, Sean.